Hey everybody! When you read a lot of books like I do, you run across a lot of really poorly written sex scenes. And I'll admit it's difficult to write a good sex scene. Most writers probably shouldn't even try. Or if they do try, they probably shouldn't publish the results. Now, I ran across this poorly written sex scene by accident. It happened a few years ago when I had a coworker who listened to audiobooks without headphones. And it usually didn't cause any problems. She'd keep the volume down and she'd turn it off during conversations and meetings so nobody cared. At least I never heard anybody else mention it in a negative way. So one day, I was standing next to her in an elevator, and I realized that this really explicit sex scene was quietly being described in her audiobook. And it wasn't just a sex scene, it was a poorly written sex scene. At least I thought it was, but maybe it was a good sex scene and I was reacting in an immature way, because I wanted to laugh, but I knew that then she'd ask what I was laughing about, and I didn't want to admit that I was eavesdropping on a sex scene from an audiobook. And with all that sexual harassment stuff, the charges getting thrown around and all the Me Too stuff, I didn't want to say anything that could be misinterpreted. I mean, she was the one listening to the sex scene, but if I made her uncomfortable by mentioning it, the fault could be interpreted as mine, so I kept my mouth shut. And then later that day when I saw her, I asked, hey, what book were you listening to? And, she was real cheerful about it. She said, The Murder House. You know who James Patterson is? And I said, yeah. And I got my monotone voice. And I said something like, Zoo was really good. That was enough for her. So once I had the title, I looked up The Murder House by James Patterson. And he's got some other guy as a co-author. And it wasn't too far into where I found the sex scene. I think it was in the first chapter. And now I'm wondering if this is one of the worst sex scenes I've ever read. Now, I don't expect well-written erotica from James Patterson and whoever that co-author was, but I mean, this is bad, even for James Patterson. And so I'm going to put up a couple paragraphs. I'm not going to put the whole thing up there because it's just really bad, and I don't want to break any terms of service with this or anything. So I'm just going to put a little bit up. And just so you know, everything in parentheses is my thoughts as I read the scene. And I'm not going to set up the scene either. I'm not giving any background information on the characters because, plot doesn't matter. All right, so I'm warning you. There's some offensive material up ahead, and I've warned you, and that's more than James Patterson and his co-author did. Here we go. The electricity between them is palpable. Okay, that's a cliche. His big, that's a lazy adjective, rough hands. Hey, well, if he has big hands, his big, rough hands trace the outline of her dress, cup her impressive, okay, that's a lazy adjective, breasts run through her silky, lazy adjective, hair, as she lets out gentle moans. Now, in this scene, only the woman moans or makes any noise, and works the zipper on his blue, I mean, do we care? His blue jeans. Okay, now then we'll skip over a little bit, and it continues a few sentences later. Noah carries Paige. Oh, that's their names. Okay, I didn't remember what their names were. Noah carries Paige into the family room with the zipper undone. I mean, oh man, walking in jeans with your zipper undone and you're carrying a woman, it's not gonna look really graceful. He lays her down on the rug. What? There's no comfortable furniture? And rips her dress open. Okay, that's very inconsiderate of him. Buttons flying. Buttons flying. That's a really odd detail. I mean, what is she gonna wear when she leaves? She's gonna have a dress where the buttons are missing. And brings his mouth to her breasts. Well, I've heard they're impressive. It then slides down to, and I'm gonna stop there because this is really bad. Yeah, it's tough to read. It's tough to read an adult scene, but it's probably more difficult to write one. I mean, I tried it once, and I'm not sure I'm going to do that again. Now, to me, the worst part of this scene, the breaking point, the part where I guess I laughed at appropriately a few times, but the worst one for me was the buttons flying line. Now, I've always thought that ripping buttons off a woman's dress is really poor etiquette. Every woman I've known in that way would have ended the romantic encounter. At that moment, I ripped the buttons off and made them fly. I made them fly. It's bad enough that he rips the buttons, but then they fly. I mean, they fly across the room, or do they just bounce off the wall, ricochet? What do they do? He made them fly. I mean, I'm pretty sure it would have ruined the encounter. And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe women like their clothing being destroyed. I've been too stupid to know that. I mean, I think I'm reasonably intelligent and reasonably empathetic, but I do have really astonishing gaps in my knowledge. And I mean, God, I hope this isn't something I've missed. Have I seriously gone through half a century without realizing that women like to see their buttons fly? And if I've missed this, why do I have to learn it from a James Patterson novel? Now, I'll be really depressed if I'm wrong about this, and I would ask my coworker. I probably would have gotten sued for sexual harassment, though, if I had. All right, that's all I've got on this. That's all I can take. So thanks for watching. And this is my blog, Dysfunctional Literacy. And if you like this kind of topic, you can find a lot more stuff like this, including commentary, book reviews, and some of my own original stuff as well. Also, hit the like button and I almost said describe. Hit the like button and subscribe, not describe. And thank you for watching.